Welcome back to another video of Math Times Cool. In this video, I will be doing the introduction to right triangles and trigonometry. So, let's begin. So, let's do the first I can. Understand that by similarity, side ratios and right triangles are properties of the angles in the triangle, leading to definitions of trigonometric ratios for acute angles. So knowing this, so we know that there's a ratio between the angles and the side lengths. So let's say you had a 45, 45, 90 triangle. So one angle is 45 degrees, another is 45, and then another is 90. So let's say we had this triangle. So in a triangle like this, we would have a 1 square root of 2 ratio. That would mean for, let's say this length was 4, right? Let's say this length was 4. This length, the hypotenuse, would be 4 times the square root of 2. And this length would be 4. We can solve this by setting up ratio. For example, so let's just name. So we know that. Let's name the side x. So for the ratio between 4 and x, there's 1 of 4 for every square root of x, right? So we can rewrite this as 4 over x is equal to 1 over square root of 2. Cross multiply, you get 4 times the square root of 2 is equal to x. So yeah, so this is an easier way to solve this, to solve for the hypotenuse. So in my next episode, or my video that I will upload 2 days from now, in that video I will be explaining how to solve for side and angle using sine, cosine, and tangent. We will go deeper into that. So let's move on. So we know that there's a ratio between 45, and 90, right? There's also a distinct ratio between 30, 60, and 90. So we have 90. Actually, let me make this triangle a bit bigger. So we have triangle. So we have 90, 60, and 30. So as we previously know, we know that the greater the corresponding angle, the greater the side. So the hypotenuse has to be the greatest because its corresponding angle is the greatest. And then knowing that, we know that this angle has to be the second greatest because its corresponding angle is 60 degrees. So there's a 1 square root of 3, 2 ratio. So the side that is opposite of the 30, or the corresponding side to the 30-degree angle, is a 1. Opposite to the 60 is square root of 3, and opposite to the 90 is 2. And then let me tell you guys something. You guys see something similarity between these? You can see that the Pythagorean Theorem works for both triangles. So 1 squared plus 1 squared equals the square root of 2, and that's how you'd solve for the hypotenuse. And the same for that. So 1 plus 3, because 1 squared is 1, square root of 3 squared is 3. Added together is 4. Take the square root, and you would get 2. So you can see that that the Pythagorean Theorem does work. Okay, so knowing this, let's say this length was 10, right? This length would be 20, because, again, you can set up the ratio. So we have 10 and x. Let's name this side x. For every 1 of 10, there's 2 of x. And then if you would do the same thing, so cross multiply, 20 is equal to x. Okay. So the important thing is just to remember these ratios, so it gets easier to solve. So let's say we had this. So let me quickly like this. So I want you guys to quickly write out the ratios, and then I will tell you guys the right answers. So hopefully you've done that. So let's begin. So for the right triangle, it would be 1, 1 square root of 2. And then for the left, it would be 1 square root of 3, 2. Because, as I said, opposite of 60 is square root of 3, opposite of 30 is 1, and then opposite of 90 is 2, and then 1, 1 square root of 2. Okay. Let's do a few problems. So let's say we have this triangle, so 90. Say we have 45, 45, and then let's say this angle is 10 square root of 2. Let's say that. So how would we find x and y? So again, we know that there's a ratio, so it's 45, 45, so it's 1, 1 square root of 2, right? So for every so we write it out like this. Oops. So x to the square 10 times square root of 2 is equal to the ratio of 1 to the square root of 2, because we know that for every 1. So for every 1 of x, there's square root of 2 of 10 divided by 10 times the square root of 2. So we have x over 10 times the square root of 2 equaling 1 over the square root of 2. So cross multiply, you get square root of 2 times x equaling 10 times the square root of 2. Divided by square root of 2. So you can see that these two cancel out, and so you just be left with 10. And then these two cancel out, and then you get x is equal to 10. So now you know that x is equal to 10. So let's erase this and then write 10. So you can see that that the ratio is 1, 1, right? You can see that the ratio is 1, 1 in these triangles, and so y would also equal 10, right? Y would also equal 10, so you can just solve for one side, and then one side of the legs, so these two sides, and then you can just copy that onto the other side. Okay, so keep in mind that these aren't too proportional, because this looks way longer than this side. Yeah. Okay. Now let's do one more, maybe two more actually. Yeah, I'll do 2 more. So let's say we have, first triangle and then the second triangle. So in red, I will draw things. So 90, 60, and 30. 90, 60, and 30. I'll also write down the sides in red. So let's say this is 10. Okay, 10. Let's say this is 10 too. Let's say that it's 10 too. Okay, just to make it a bit easier. So again, we know that so 60, 30. So the ratio would be 1 square root of 3, 2, because opposite of 60 is square root of 3, opposite of 30 is 1, and opposite of 90 is 2. So anyway, so let's name this x and that y. So the ratio between x and 10 is equal to 1 and 2, right? So write it out like this, cross multiply, so you get 2x is equal to 10 divided by 2 is 5. So you get that x is equal to 5. So straight away, you can just do one thing. You can see that for every 1 of x, there's a square root of 3. And then so you can see that you can just multiply x by square root of 3 to get y, which is 5 times the square root of 3. So, or you could do it like this. Again, you could use the ratios. So y to 10 is equal to square root of 3 and 2. So y over 10 is equal to square root of 3 over 2. So cross multiply, right? You get this divided by 2. Y is equal to 5 times the square root of 3. Or or you could just think it like this. So you can just multiply the outsides and the insides together. So y times 2, and then 10 times the square root of 3. So with this, you can do x times 2 and 10 times 1 and set them equal to each other. Or you could do it like this just to not make you confused. Okay, so correctly solve that side. Let's move on to this. Okay, so again, so we have our triangle. So the ratio is 1 square root of 3, 2. As you can see, the ratios have flipped here because the angles have changed position. So again, same as x, same that y. So now, again, x to 10 is equal to square root of 3, 2. And then, so using that previous method, you can just do x times 2. So it's 2x is equal to 10 times the square root of 3. And then you get x is equal to 5 times the square root of 3 once you divide by 2 on both sides. Okay, so you get x is equal to 5 times the square root of 3. And again, you can see that there's that for every square root of 3 of that, there's 1 of y. And then so you can divide by square root of 3, getting you that that y is equal to 5. Or, again, you can just solve it. So y, sorry. So y to 10 is equal to 1 and 2. So y over 10 is equal to 1 over 2, cross multiply. So multiply by 2, and then multiply by 10. So 2y is equal to 10 divided by 2 is 5. So we get y is equal to 5. And then as you can see here, we've noticed that the side lengths have changed because of the angles have changed. So keep in mind that the angle orientation is very important in determining side length. So I hope you learned something new from this video. So again, I will be telling you guys how to solve for sides and angles in a video that I will upload after my Kumon video that I will upload either the day of that I upload this video or tomorrow. So stay tuned for that. Thank you for watching this video. Make sure to like and subscribe, and goodbye.